Today on Moviewallas, we talk about Drop and Sinners.
Drop the sinners.
It's time for Moviewallas. Hi, this is Joe.
Hi, it's Rashmi.
And Yazdi as well.
Moviewallas is your weekly dose of film reviews, movie news, and general banter in theatres, on DVD, online streaming, or in the back of an airplane. If you love the movies,
this show is for you.
And you, and you, and you.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Happy. Well, it was Good Friday yesterday. Today
Yes.
must be Easter Saturday.
Yes.
And
Is it
then-
called Easter
there such a
Saturday?
thing? Okay.
I think it's just Saturday.
I think it is, but in the UK, I think we used to call it Easter Saturday because it's a big 4
No,
day.
I don't. I think you're making it up, Joe.
No, I grew up there too, Rashmi.
I know, but I'm like, I don't remember Easter Saturday. I think it was
Easter
just
Saturday.
Good Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday, and then Holiday Monday.
We can solve this with the internet.
Wait, there, you get a holiday on Monday after
yeah,
Easter?
in the UK,
We get a 4 day weekend for Easter,
which is very nice.
Which
I do
I
miss
miss,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Never mind.
Easter's a big
Easter's
deal in the
always
UK.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Europe.
In most countries, actually.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we didn't get even a holiday day, but I guess it's considered too much of a religious holiday.
Yes.
Plus, it's
Like
on a
Christmas.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a good friend who is from Hong Kong, and she went through the British, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's a Commonwealth. And she would always tell me, if you don't send your greeting cards out for Christmas or New Year, then you should just wait for Easter. I'm like, who sends a greeting card out to somebody for Easter?
Well, but we were just telling Yazdi before that we started recording the show that Easter eggs are very popular, not the ones that you paint yourself, but exchanging chocolate eggs was a big deal in the UK.
Well, thanks to the chocolate industry.
Yes, that's right.
I think it stemmed from
That's
the painted
right.
eggs.
Big chocolate.
Yeah. Big chocolate.
Big chocolate is out to get your money.
The chocolate, the chocolate egg.
The chocolate egg industry.
That's what I remember as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And everyone would give you one. It was so cool being
Yeah.
a kid.
You had a
end up
lot
with
of eggs.
10 chocolate Easter eggs.
Yeah.
And they were big then.
Yeah.
Like now they're all like...
Well, shrinkflation.
They're all shrinkflated.
Yeah.
Probably better for you too.
Yes.
Okay. Got a couple of movies to talk about today. I'm excited. I've only seen one of them, but I'm really excited to talk about it. So before we do that, let's jump into our segment where we try and find for you some choice cuts from streaming in our
Yes.
segment. I can't find anything to watch on video on demand. So Rashmi or Yazdi?
I can go first.
What's in your
I
queues?
have a really good pick for you this week. It is the film from 2020. I just saw it streaming on Netflix, and it is called The 40-Year-Old Version, not to be confused with The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which was the Steve Carell movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great movie. It's shot in black and white, and it's just so funny, and it stars Rather Blank, who directed it and wrote it. She's a comedian. It's about her trying to make her way in New York as a playwright, but then she ends up becoming a rapper. It's hilarious, and it's witty, and it's smart, and it's really well filmed. It's got great characters in it, and it's just a lovely story.
Yeah, it's unlike anything you've probably
Yeah.
seen. I love it. Yeah, and it has this ethereal feeling because it's shot in black and white, and it's shot around, New York, Harlem, all of those areas. And I watched that movie and I said, okay, I want to see what she does next.
Yeah, but she hasn't done anything since, I think.
Yeah.
But hopefully she'll put something out soon. So the 40-Year-Old Version on Netflix.
Yes.
Yazdi.
My recommendation is a movie which was in theaters, but not a couple weeks ago, and has immediately showed up on Netflix, which is surprising. But it's the movie One of Them Days, and it stars Keke Palmer and SZA. SZA.
SZA. SZA.
Okay,
SZA.
SZA.
She's the rapper.
I was thinking Caesar the monkey.
No. SZA.
But how do you add an I after the S? You've made it SZA.
No, it's SZA. That's how you pronounce it.
Okay,
SZA.
like a pair of scissors.
Yeah, but she's being cool because she's a rapper as well.
Yes. So this movie...
Tell me how old you are without telling me how old you are.
I have not heard a SZA song, and shame on me. But this movie is so much fun. It's about these two roommates, Kiki Palmer and SZA, who are living in this apartment where their rent is due, and they decide that they are going to somehow find the money for the rent, and they go on this adventure where everything gets sequentially worse. It's like the worst day in their life, and it's just hilarious. It's kind of goofy. It's got a good heart. Its ultimate message is about sticking with what you're good at. I think Kiki Palmer is just such a effortlessly charming presence on the screen. I've always liked her in everything.
Her. What has she been in?
She was in Nope, remember?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And then SZA, surprisingly, is pretty game as well. A lot of cameos. It's just a fun,
it's got a great score.
Moonies.
94% on the tomato meter and 90% with the popcorn meter.
Yeah.
Good score.
Yeah. And the whole movie takes place over like 12 hours as they're
Yeah.
trying to find this
Yeah.
money. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Very good.
I would definitely
I added
recommend.
it to our Netflix list, yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, what's yours?
Sorry, as I choke here. If I was going to be lazy, I would.
Which you always are.
Joe, are you about to do two movies?
Yeah.
I sense that
If I was
coming.
going to be lazy, as you
if I
like.
was going to be lazy, I would pick the re-release of the Batman trilogy by Christopher Nolan.
Oh my God, you didn't.
All three are released?
All three, Batman
Netflix?
Begins, Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, are all re-released on April 1st on Netflix.
Okay, good to know.
But since
So
you're
if
not
you
being
would-
lazy and you had one prepared.
But since I'm not being lazy, I'm going to choose one. That's probably one that I've already picked, but it's been a while. The Place Beyond the Pines. This was a movie from, goodness, about a decade ago, I think, by Derek Cianfrance, who famously directed Blue Valentine.
That was a great movie.
Which is a great movie.
That was a great movie.
In fact, it's that's such that movie has left me emotionally traumatized. I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
But Place Beyond the Pines is kind of a mystery thriller. I'll read the tagline here: a stunt rider turns into a robber in order to lead a happy life with his child and lover, and grabs the attention of a police officer. They both get on a collision course that affects their family. Wonderful cast: Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper, Ava Mendes, among others. And Mahershala Ali
I
was
love
in
him.
this. I remember
Yeah.
that. I mean, it was just it's a very intense kind of thriller.
It's long.
It's long and it's kind of overcooked, but it's a great piece of filmmaking. I mean, it had quite the impact on me at the time that I watched it, and so I really like that movie.
I love that movie. It is overcooked. I think this might have been the movie where Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes met for the first time. I could be wrong, but they are now partners and they have a kid together.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
A couple of kids, I think.
couple of kids
yeah.
together.
I didn't know that.
And what really maybe it's a spoiler, but I will say what really surprised me about this movie is I wasn't prepared for how epic in scope it is.
Yes.
Because you think it's about these characters, and then at a particular point it just jumps to these other characters, and then you find out eventually what the connection is.
Yes.
But it's so smart. It just really unexpected, comes out of nowhere.
It's like
it's a lot.
chapters of a book.
Yeah, a lot of ambition. I love
hated
that
the
film.
story. I hated the story. I hated the movie. Awful movie.
Don't
But
say that.
it was not good.
Hey, don't trash my pick.
Yeah. Not. Yeah.
It's a good pick. Don't listen to Rashmi. 80% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Ray Liotta is
So
in
I
it.
will be
Byrne.
I will be vindicated.
Boring and dull.
Anyway, Place Beyond the Pines out on Netflix. Rashmi, your pick was?
The 40-year-old version on Netflix.
And Yazdi, you brought us.
Also from Netflix, I brought us One of Them Days. One of Them Days.
Awesome stuff.
Okay.
2 movies to talk about today. We have Drop and we have Sinners. Is that the order of
Sure.
the day? Okay, let's go then. We shall start with Drop. I'll just briefly introduce that because I'm the only one that hasn't seen it. Reading straight from the Rotten Tomatoes page, Emmy nominee. Okay, take
The
two.
Emilys.
Emmy nominee.
My God.
What is in this tea, Yazdi?
Emmy nominee Emily. Yes.
Is this a Massachusetts moment?
Because I can't talk. Yeah, the Massachusetts moment from many podcasts ago was when
Yes.
I couldn't say Massachusetts. In fact, that was a bit of a brain fart, actually.
Yeah.
I kept saying Massachusetts instead of Massachusetts.
And then you didn't even know you were saying it.
And I swore blind that I didn't say it, and I probably shouted and like, no, I'm not saying that. And then I played it back. I was like, I'm saying Massachusetts. That's like
Massachusetts.
yeah, it was very, very strange. Anyhow, no. Emmy nominee Megan Fahey, a breakout star of White Lotus and The Perfect Couple, plays Violet, a widowed mother on her first date in years who arrives at an upscale restaurant where she is relieved that her date, Henry, is more charming and handsome than she expected.
Oh.
I'll stop there. The movie is
there's
directed.
more, there's more.
Okay, I was
Okay.
Because
good.
I always worry that this gets into
good.
spoiler
Yeah, that's
territory.
good,
Yeah,
actually.
that's
Yeah.
Chemistry begins to curdle as Violet begins being irritated and then terrorized by a series of anonymous drops to her phone.
Perfect.
Okay. It's directed by Christopher Landon, who is from the horror genre. I'm not familiar with any of his prior works. I did quickly look them up. Quite a good CV in terms of reviews here on Rotten Tomatoes. Freaky, Heart Eyes, Happy Death Day to You, among his credits. So,
But it's a Blumhouse production.
Right.
So know what you're walking into, right?
Okay.
It's a Jason Blum.
Cast here is let's see.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Oh, yeah. It's
Megan Fahey, obviously, and then we also have why do they keep moving this around? Megan Fahey, Brendan Sklenar, Violet Bean, Jacob Robinson, Ed Weeks, a top build here on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't get a chance to see this. What did you guys think of Drop?
Yazdi, go.
It's not a horror film, but it's a suspense film, I would say. It's the kind of movie which, when you're watching in the moment, you will have a great fun ride. And it's really, I was surprised at how expertly it's been crafted. Like the sound design and, the thrills and the pacing. It really, I was surprised. It caught me off guard at how well it's been pieced together. But, 2 days later, 3 days later, when you start thinking about it, you will see giant plot holes, which doesn't matter, right? Because you're watching a movie like Drop to be entertained one evening, either at the back of a plane or even, one evening after you've had a bad day at work. You just want to get your mind off. My only complaint about the movie is the name of the movie. I hate that name Drop, because drop to me means a drop of water or you being dropped from somewhere. But drop actually refers to dropped messages on your phone.
Yeah.
Which why call
Like
it drop?
it'd be called
Nobody-
Messenger or
Right,
something.
right, right.
Yeah.
Because No Signal would have been a terrible
Yeah,
name.
Signal.
No,
exactly.
No Signal would be a great name, I think, for a
Yeah.
movie. But anyway, I really enjoyed this movie.
I love this movie. Same, Yazdi. It's one of the most entertaining thrillers I've watched in a long, long time. It's very tight. It's very clean. Other than, some big plot hole. There's like a huge concession, which doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't matter because the ride is so thrilling and so fun. And, the violence is really good as well. There's some good violence. I love the
What is
production in
good
this
violence?
movie.
Well,
It's interesting, right? Like it's inventive. It's
Yeah. Okay.
inventive.
And it's well implemented.
It's
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's all in service of the story. It's set in this beautiful shishi restaurant. So other than one other scene, which is in her house, most of the movie takes place in this very beautiful
rooftop
restaurant, which is, the production is beautiful. Really fun. I really like this. And Megan Fahey is really good. She's, it's a difficult role because she has to play, she knows what's going on, but she's not allowed to say what's going on. And she's trying to kind of not be a crazy woman, but there are things that make her be a crazy woman. So it's all very good. It's very, very good. It takes place over a meal. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not giving anything away. The premise of the movie is she's gone after her divorce. She's gone for a first date on a blind date. And while she's at the blind date, she starts getting these messages indicating that her kid is, in peril. Somebody's in her house and is going to come after her kid unless she does some things at the restaurant, right? And they become progressive. The demands become progressively higher, and she is going insane. But if she tells anyone, or if she calls the police, or if then and she figures out that it's somebody in the restaurant.
It has to be because the drops can only happen. Yeah, within.
So the movie does a really good job of
good editing.
Good editing, but a really good job of you constantly guessing. It tells you about the other characters who are in her vicinity at the restaurant, and you're always wondering, oh, could it be her? Could it be this? Could it be that? So it's pretty airtight from that perspective, even though there are giant plot holes. So it's very well executed. And I was constantly thinking, what would I do? What would I do in this situation?
Yeah.
Right? So when a movie makes you do that, I love
it when that happens.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Really good movie. I think it's a great movie. What's your score?
7.5 out of 10, which I'm going to bump up to 8. There is nobody I would not recommend that they watch this movie. Yeah, and it's got no big name actors. It's from a director we don't know, but it's a very polished piece of work, I think, overall. So please watch Drop.
Yep,
it's
same
fun.
for me. 8.
Yeah,
very good movie. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and it's efficient.
Yeah,
it's not long.
In and out. Yeah, an hour and a half. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay. Moving on then to movie number 2, which is Sinners.
Okay, so from director and writer Ryan Coogler. This is of Black Panther and Creed fame. He is working with his muse again, which is Michael B. Jordan, which is basically about trying to leave their troubled lives behind. Twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. This has a really good cast, which is Miles Catton, Saul Williams, Jack O'Connell is here, Michael B. Jordan, like I mentioned.
Hailee Steinfeld.
Hailee Steinfeld is here, and a whole host of others. Joe, I know you didn't know anything about this movie walking into the cinema. What did you think of Sinners?
And I'm glad you made that point, because I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this movie worked really well for me. But I almost want our listeners, if they are listening to this and trying to decide if they should go see this, to just stop the podcast now, drive to the nearest IMAX and watch this movie. Because knowing very little about this movie actually, I think, worked for me in its favors. I've seen some of the promo material since watching the movie, and there's a few revelations that I think would have changed the way that I received the movie, particularly its first third, if I'd known what it was really about. So I'm going to step around spoilers. I don't think that you necessarily have to, because I think there's so much of what this movie is actually about out in the world.
It's had so much write-up as well. It feels like everyone is reviewing this movie at the moment.
I'm going to tell you right now, I was giddy in terms of when I left the movie theater. We were always asked for comment, and I had no words other than it's amazing.
Really?
I said I'm gonna have to piece my thoughts together over time, but I was absolutely blown away by this.
Okay, Yazdi.
Yeah, I think Sinners is the reason we go to the movies.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite movie I've seen this year. I just I can talk about this one for hours. I think. So think about what Ryan Coogler is doing here, right? So Ryan Coogler has been working all of his movies, starting with Fruitvale Station. He's been working with Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
He got pulled into the Marvel universe, and he delivered amazingly with the 2 Black Panther movies. Then he did Creed. And then finally, I think he had enough heft to kind of make his own movie. And he has made this epic, sprawling movie, which works amazingly at 2 different levels. At face value, it works phenomenally as an entertainer, right? It's terrific entertainment. I just came out like breathless, right?
Yeah.
but it also, because it's set in the 1930s in Jim Crow South, and it's, it also talks about the Black experience and all the analogies that work in the horror part of the movie work as well in depth with the political commentary part of the movie. It's just work of so much ambition. And I'll say one other thing. Like Joe, please don't watch this on a stupid little screen at the back of an airplane. Don't watch this.
No.
I don't care how big your television is at home. Don't watch it there. This movie, if you see it for nothing else, watch it for its use of music and watch it for its sound design. And that will be best experienced in as big of a screen and as beautiful of a sound system as you can find.
Yeah.
You need to watch. I mean, we normally don't recommend IMAX, but I think if you can't find an IMAX, that's fine, but watch it on a big screen, because the joy of... There are some parts of... I'll stop in a second. There's some parts of this movie where the movie just lifts off the ground, right? It just goes into this other phase, and I think you will enjoy that when the movie lifts up to this other space. It's so enjoyable to watch it in a movie theater. Yeah.
Yeah, I too love this movie. It's got 3 for 3. It's so interesting. It's a genre mashup, which I loved. I love that it's almost comedic to start with,
funny.
right?
It's
It's
very
very
funny.
light and funny, and then it kind of has a turning point, and it carries this humor through it, but it definitely changes in tone. What I marveled at was, how did Ryan Coogler do this seamless editing with 2 Michael B. Jordans?
Yeah.
There is literally interaction between the 2 Michael B. Jordans, which is so seamless. I was looking for the seams. It's impossible to watch. So just the marvel of watching that.
You mean
I
at the
actually
beginning of
forgot.
the movie where they're passing a cigarette? Yeah.
Passing cigarettes.
the
and-
very first scene when you see the
Yeah.
two of them together,
Yeah.
one Michael Jordan passes on a cigarette to the second Michael Jordan. How did they do
and
it?
marvelous Michael Jordan. We've always known he's a great actor. I was convinced that I was watching 2 different people. I forgot that I was actually watching Michael B. Jordan in 2 different roles. So just for that, I think it's good. I think everyone delivers here. I love this kind of... this kind of feeling of something naughty being done by a group of people, because they're trying to set up like a
Juke joint.
a juke joint, and it feels kind of like a speakeasy almost, something private, something sinister, something secretive. But then there's even more secretive stuff going on around them in many different ways. And so again, that blending of who's got the power, in a sense, who's in charge, was really interesting and perfection, I think.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I made a ton of notes here, which I don't always do, but I had so many thoughts about the movie, and I think, the genre mashup thing, I think you touched upon, Rashmi. I think that's kind of an understatement here.
Yeah.
This is the kind of art that can only exist as cinema.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, it weaponizes like editing, sound design, and visual storytelling. Like, the piece that you're referring to, Yazdi, there's like a surreal montage in the middle of the movie, which
Worth seeing just for that.
which is worth seeing just for that. But it's both out of place and both absolutely perfectly suited for that moment
Yeah.
of time in the movie. And I couldn't understand the way my brain was processing any of it, because I was like, this doesn't make sense. But then it's like, this makes perfect sense. And, I think as a creative artist here, Coogler has done something like magical. I mean, I can't quite process my own feelings of this movie other than, it's spectacular. I mean, the sound design.
Yeah.
The
The
music.
jump scares.
The music is phenomenal
Yeah,
in
I
this
love
movie.
the music.
The soundtrack, I mean, as soon as it came out on iTunes on Friday, I was like streaming it on headphones.
Oh, really?
Because this movie.
I didn't hear you do that.
It's blues.
Is that
and-
why I scared you today?
It is. The other day you jumped at, but it's blues, and it's not I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of the blues. I mean, I like the
Yeah.
classic blues stuff, but I'm not like a blues fan. But I mean, wow. And so again, the confidence, the the originality here
Yeah.
for something that is ostensibly a genre that we've seen a lot of. I'm absolutely blown away by
Yeah.
this movie.
I mean, I would like to tell you, to our listeners, somebody might tell you this is a vampire movie. Somebody might tell you this is a horror movie. Don't let that scare you.
Or a race movie.
Or a race
You could
movie.
even be told it's a race
Right.
movie.
Don't let that scare you. If you're not into horror, if you're not into vampires, if you're not into about race relations, the movie is so much more than that. It's just gives you an example of when you give the right people the latitude to fulfill their ambition, they can really deliver. This is Ryan Coogler at his peak, I think. And remember, he did the Black Panther movies, which were amazing pieces of work.
Yeah.
And in spite of that, and he didn't just direct it, and he's not just working with two Michael B. Jordans, but he wrote this whole thing, right? This whole story exists because of what was in his head.
Yeah.
And you can see this as an allegory of how Caucasians have tried to take over black music. You can see this as an allegory of how, black people are not left alone. They have to be encroached by somebody from the outside who wants to literally defeat them. I mean, there's many ways of interpreting this, I think, when you think about it. But
and they're all right and they're all wrong.
They're all right and all, yeah. I also like this movie for how I have not noticed Ryan Coogler do very good female characters, but the two female characters in this movie,
amazing. Three. There's three female characters.
Three female characters.
Very
They're
sassy.
So well realized.
Yeah.
Each one of them is unique. Hailee Steinfeld is one of them.
Yeah.
But they're so beautifully realized. I also love that this movie is so horny. It's really,
I was just going to say that.
It's so
I was
horny.
going to say it's very sexy and sassy.
Very sexy. The dialogue is very explicit. So don't take your grandma. Don't take your 10-year-old. But outside of that, it's the most ambitious, film I've seen this year. Granted, we are only in April, but this movie is just a remarkable achievement.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I also love that this is a movie with two Michael B. Jordans who are both brilliant. I mean, I think I read, I was listening to the NPR podcast on this movie, and somebody said this, which I really is true, is that Ryan Coogler makes Michael B. Jordan better, and Michael B. Jordan makes Ryan Coogler better.
Yeah.
He's only ever made movies with them. But here, even though you have two Michael B. Jordans, the heart of the story actually sits with the Miles Caton character, who is apparently this musical prodigy who was picked for this particular movie. And, he is so good.
He's a revelation.
He's a revelation.
His voice is incredible.
When he sings, it's just amazing. And, the movie starts with him and kind of ends with him. So honestly, go watch this movie.
One note. Stay until after the titles because there is an epilogue. I didn't care for the epilogue and I would have happily walked out before the epilogue started. But I would probably reduce my score by a point because of that epilogue.
Oh, wow.
But do stay for it.
Yeah. I do get, in general, I'm annoyed by movies which have too many endings. This one does have about 3 endings, which is fine. I mean, by that time, I was so bowled over by the movie, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
But normally, I would cut a point like, just make up your mind. Where do you want to end your movie? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, score. Joe.
Well, I struggled. I would have struggled all week if you'd asked me to not give this a 10. I mean, it was absolutely mind-blowingly, phenomenally good.
So give it a 10.
So, you guys never give 10s. I'm going to give it a 10.
We have a scale from 1 to 10 for a reason.
It is, for me, as perfect a piece of cinema as I've seen. It's a movie for movie lovers. It's a movie for those of us and it's a blockbuster at the same time.
Yeah,
I think it does that very well. It does that really good thing of a blockbuster art house movie, which I think is one of the hardest things to accomplish for a director and a production crew. There's bits of it that remind me of Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yeah.
In that, it,
Yep.
you know, and this is what I wrote. It uses genre to kind of explore the strange and sublime, but it has a flavor all of its own. And I wrote that down because I was just like, you know, Nope was confusing and frustrating and a mess. This movie could have very easily tripped over those same tripwires
Yes.
and exploded in its own ambition, and instead it cruises through them beautifully. So, you know, again, as a piece of film work, I can't say good enough things about this.
I love the costume and the poster. I love the poster.
It is movie perfection for me.
Yeah. Okay, so what was your score? Are you giving it?
I'm going to go with a 10 because
Good for you.
this is why I go to the cinema. It's these moments. It's these kind of emotions and like goosebumpy giddiness and this sense of like something that I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's challenging.
This is why I go. I get that from time to time. I got it last year with Furiosa. I know that didn't work for many, but you know this is just. I loved this
Good
movie.
for you, Joe. Okay, Yazdi.
Yeah, it's a 9 out of 10 for me, which I don't hand out those 9s very often as well. But I think this is just such an accomplished piece of work. There is a scene, I'm not giving anything away. There's a scene pretty early in the movie where this camera tracks. There are these two Asian owners of a shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the camera tracks them as they go from their daughter, as she goes from one store to the other. Did he have to do it? No, but I'm like, wow, why is he doing it? I think if you love music, which just will shake something within you, you need to watch this movie. If you love cinema, you need to watch this movie. If you love ambitious work, you need to watch this movie. I'm sick of, sequels, and I'm sick of IP usual, like part 4, part 6. When somebody's making amazing, original, groundbreaking, I would even say, cinema like this, then we have to support it. I think if you care about movies, you need to go watch Sinners. Don't let any piece of it kind of throw you off, like, oh, this is not the movie for me. Oh, I don't do horror. I don't. It's just an amazing piece of work. The only, not criticism, the only thing I would hold back is that Coogler is so ambitious and he's so confident that he takes his merry time to get to where he wants to. And that may frustrate some people where, the first 45 minutes, he's just setting up all the characters, right, before things start to happen. And that may throw some people off. Me personally, if none of the vampire stuff happened and if it was just about those characters, I would have gladly watched another 2 hours of just a plain race relations 1932 movie with those characters. I would have happily watched that. But yeah.
I know Rashmi hasn't scored yet, but I have to respond to that because I didn't know the horror stuff was coming.
Okay.
I had no clue. And the way it foreshadowed it at the beginning with the opening scene, I felt I couldn't quite connect to that. And I was like, I know this is coming, but I don't. But it wasn't a complete giveaway. And I think the movie was better for not knowing that. And I think, in fact, I would have actually been very satisfied with the movie without that.
Yeah, me too.
The fact that came along was kind of an icing on the cake, because it was so well done. So, again, I mean, I think, the movie I thought I was watching morphed into something bigger and bolder and wilder right in front of my eyes.
Yeah. You know who, I know this is the end of the review, but Hailee Steinfeld really impressed me.
So good.
She was so good in this movie.
And she has
she's finally an adult, right? She's finally an adult and shows up like an adult.
I bet she had to audition the life out of her,
probably,
to get that role. Because I'm like, Hailee Steinfeld, in this movie, and she was darn good.
She's very good.
She's been awful in almost everything since True Grit.
Correct.
I mean,
I agree.
And I won't say awful. She's just been a little bit of a letdown because she showed so much promise. Here she's back to the actress that I knew that she could always be.
Yeah. It's another 9 from me. You don't have to be a sinner or a saint to watch this, but you should go watch Sinners. Really good movie. Love this.
We haven't even talked about Delroy Lindo, who was so
everyone,
good.
Everyone is so
Wunmi
good.
Mosaku. So Wunmi Mosaku is the other person who is the other female lead for.
She's so
she
good.
Was, she kind of plays
She's this voluptuous, womanly woman who we don't see on screen. And my God, she was
I mean, on the face of it, she's a healer. It could have been a caricature,
Yes.
and she is just.
She's so good. Oh gosh, yeah.
And the dialogue is so crisply written. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is just,
Yeah.
you know,
There's not a word wasted.
at all. And,
Yeah.
and you know, this is again one of those movies where I kind of wish we had subtitles.
Yeah, I was just going to say the subtitle
I
thing.
did miss some of it just because it comes at you thick and fast at times. So yeah, what a thing this was.
Yeah, so it's
And
very
even the
good.
3 actors who play the bad guys, so good.
The
All 3.
music,
Jack O'Connell.
the
O'Connell was
bluegrass
superb.
was
O'Connell
so,
was so
good. It
good,
was kind
yeah.
of felt like bluegrass that they were playing, and I was like, "Wow, I want to listen to that song again."
Well, it was the Irish.
Is that what it
It
is?
was
It's
an
kind of
Irish
bluegrass,
jig
yeah, the
kind of
Irish
thing.
jig. But
I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a proper. Oh, I won't
no,
say
don't
it.
say
I
it.
won't
That's
say it.
that's worth the price of
Yeah,
admission.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
that one scene, I think, which Joe mentioned.
No,
yeah.
I'm thinking of another scene. But
Okay.
so I hope you've stopped listening to us, and I hope you've gone to your phones and booked a ticket to go see this in the theater. Please don't see it at home. Please, and see it. Watch this movie.
And if you have
Very
access
good.
to an IMAX, I strongly recommend that because this was clearly shot. Some scenes were shot in IMAX. You could tell by the framing of the movie. Not a whole lot, but again, just worth the price of admission for that alone.
Yeah.
All right.
I just realized, Joe, there was a film called His House that we watched, which was also a horror.
Oh yeah.
Which
Oh yeah, I remember
which
that.
she's in. She was the
Oh,
lead in that movie. That was a great movie, by
okay.
the way.
The
His
small
House.
British movie.
Yeah, small British movie about the refugees who come to the house.
Yeah, that's right.
She was the main lead.
Okay,
She's exceptional in that movie as well.
You know, I feel like this movie. I hope this movie doesn't have what happened to Challengers, which is you know, it's
Gets
come out
forgotten.
so early in the year that by award season the kind of the fuss has died down and it gets overlooked because this would be like I'm going to see it's going to be hard for me to understand how anything can surpass this for me this year, but we'll have to see how the year goes.
Okay.
Maybe
All right.
maybe our next episode.
Really? Okay. I don't think so. But anyway. Yeah.
On that note, we are going to follow up soon with the podcast. We are going to bring you reviews of On Swift Horses and The Wedding Banquet. So we'll wrap up this one for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you watch us on YouTube, we appreciate that. Until our next episode. Too many movies, too little time. Goodbye from me.
And me.
And me as well.